Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing The Bad Guys
We're
2.
planning something big. Only problem, it's too big for the three of us.
You need work. We need extra hands.
Professionals, with a specific set of skills.
One last job. What you say?
What do we say? No.
Literally, I was like, well, I've watched the first one. Let me go watch the second one as well. And the marketing for this doesn't give me much. Like, I feel this is just going to be very kids' film. And not in the good way, but in the sense of, like it's appealing to the lowest common denominator. And what I
Sure.
mean by that, it feels minions.
Ooh, okay.
But then I had the same reaction by the end of this film that I had to the first film, which was like, you know what? This is actually kind of really fun and good. And it was better than it had any need or right to be.
Okay.
So basically, this is a sequel to the first film, which is called The Bad Guys. It's by DreamWorks. And I think it's DreamWorks Animation in its new era, I would say. This era which specifically started after like Puss in Boots, The Last Wish,
Sure, yes.
which was an incredibly great animated film, right? So basically, it's kind of just five animals, these five anthropomorphic animals: wolf, shark, snake, piranha, and tarantula. They're literally just called that, and they are those animals. In the last film, used to be bad guys, again, very self explanatory, and are now good guys. They did heists, they don't do heists anymore. And it starts with kind of them not being able to find a job, which immediately made me go like, this just feels very real to like the US or like any country, not even the US, where people who've like served their time are also not able to, integrate back into society.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And Wolf has a friend who
Mhm.
is basically the governor of this place. But Wolf and Fox really have chemistry. Listen, I'll be honest. The first film also did a lot for furries, and this film not as much, but also is like keeping that like internal dream alive.
Shh. I can see that.
Listen. I am not like you anything. I'm just saying after seeing this film, you're like, they have chemistry. The fox and the wolf have chemistry. And I think one big reason for that is their voice acting. The wolf is played by Sam Rockwell. The fox is played
Yeah.
by Zazie Beetz. The fox is also called Diane Foxington. Wolf is just called Wolf. Again, I like to reiterate.
That's a very slay name. Diane is a very slay name.
Yeah, so Zazie Beetz, Sam Rockwell do their job really well. The other cast includes Mark Maron as Snake, Craig Robinson as Shark, Anthony Ramos as Piranha. Then you also have Aquafina in Tarantula. And this is, I'm telling you, this movie is actually better than it has any right to be. Aquafina did not feel grating to me at all.
And that's saying something. Like, listen, no shade to Aquafina, but she's been in so many movies as the same character, just over and over and over again.
Yes!
That, it gets too much. So, like, to hear that is, I guess, a refreshing change.
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason is that this film, A, her character has like an actual character traits that are just not Aquafina. And B, it feels like her dialogue is properly written. She's not just like making things up on the spot. Like it's not the same type of funny, right? And then you have the bad girls, basically this new crew that the bad guys are kind of facing off against, which has Danielle Brooks as Kitty, Maria Bakalova as Pigtail, who's like a big hog, and Natasha Lyonne as Susan or Doom. Natasha Lyonne for the whole time of the film. Look, whose voice is that? I know that voice. I can't figure that voice out. Who is it? It was Natasha Lyonne.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and it has great like people. It also has Richard Ayoade as Professor Marmalade, who returns from the first film, who's also so good in that role. I love that so much. Right. So basically, there's just like a lot of firstly good voice acting, right? Also,
Mhm.
Alex Bornstein, I wanted to shout out, who plays Commissioner. She's also fantastic in that role. So yeah, like there are so many good like voice roles in this film, and they do their job well. Again, even in times where it is like a famous actor, and I'm like their voice sounds famous, it doesn't like take me out of the film necessarily in any meaningful way. It just feels like they're cast really well.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's the best case scenario, right? In an animated film.
Exactly. And the second thing is that their characters are written in a way that all of them do feel like they have very individual character traits. The first film definitely was very much an Ocean's 11's for kids in a lot of ways. And this
Mm.
feels like a proper sequel to it, which is not the same thing, but it's still very much like the initial heist sequence that the film opens with is so fun. It's just genuinely so fun. And I think the biggest credit of this film, I think that it shines the most is its animation. It genuinely feels that there's not even a second of this film that they were not putting effort into. Either the backgrounds are just always very well done. The animation always feels like so dynamic and fluid, like genuinely something is happening every second. And it that makes it so much more fun. Like it's stretchy, it's punchy, it's dynamic. It has all of these great qualities which really make it stand out so much. And it like gives its animation the time to shine by itself as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, like the first 5 minutes of this film are a great example for that. They do a little heist sequence about their first, like one of their older heists and stuff like that before they turned. And you just swept up in it so well because of the music, because of the characters, because specifically the animation is so well done, right? So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Like I think the animation and DreamWorks doing this is so good. If I remember correctly, this film also had a Sony Picture Studio doing some of the animation as well. Which again,
Mm-hmm.
these are also another studio whose animation has been like really good in the past like few years. And even though it's like animation style is like I said, very like kind of cutie childish hype, it still like varies it up. It still uses different like ways to animate its characters when the needs be. It's happy to play with the format, and I think that also works really well for this film.
I was going to say, so basically, this is just yet another case of why was this animated film not advertised correctly, marketed correctly.
Kinda. I think this one did have a bit more marketing, in my opinion, to it. At least in Cineworld it did, because I remember seeing those Cineworld 2-for-1 kid steal prices and this film being tied to all of that and being like, okay, I'm tired of hearing this now.
Yeah.
So my thing is also that the reason I think it's also really good is because I feel that it's made by people who are very talented, who know what they're doing, but are okay making this for kids, but also making a very good version for kids. Because, like, listen, this film
Mm-hmm.
does have like an extended fart joke scene. And, like, I didn't find it the funniest thing, but I didn't feel like that is all of it what it was. Like, it was trying to grab the lowest hanging fruit. It had like a proper plot and it was having fun with it, but also it was never taking itself too seriously, because one of the central like plot points is an element called MacGuffington, which
Okay.
just is a play of like this is a MacGuffin. We acknowledge this is we can be tongue in cheek with this. The kids are not going to know what a MacGuffin is, but an adult will find that hilarious. And I did, and I remember a kid sitting next to me being like, "What are you laughing at?"
Yeah, yeah. No, I like, again, I think we've discussed this before, but I like films that are like, meant for kids, technically, like quotation marks around meant, but then have these sort of sly in jokes or tongue in cheek moments that only adults will fully appreciate. And I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. It's directed by Pierre Perifel, who has worked in DreamWorks for a long while as well, like who's come up through the ranks very much so. And these are his like two big motion pictures. And I think like the direction's also really fine. Also, like as I mentioned, like the animation sequences, I think they're also really boosted by the music and the score, which is done by
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Pemberton, who you might know as the same person who's done the music for Spider-Verse films.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think all of it shines. The writers are Ethan Cohen and Uni Berner. And yeah, like I said, does it have those stupid kids type jokes? Sure. but it never feels like the writing is never putting in an effort. It's like we are writing for kids. Let's just acknowledge that, but doesn't mean we have to act like kids can't be smart, kids can't have fun, kids can't appreciate
Yeah.
like good humor or like good characters and stuff like that. And yeah, this film just surprises you with how much effort you can see is in it, and how much fun it is having, and like also the extent which it is going to like just sell every little scene that it does with its animation in particular. And you just come out of it being like, you know what, that was actually really fun, I had a great time.
Yeah, that's really cute.
So those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. If you enjoyed this, please do share it. See you again next time.